Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Awakening Potential Show, where we dive into stories, tools, and strategies to unlock your extraordinary self. I'm your host, Karen Rudolf, here to support you with stepping boldly into your sassy confidence, your classy wisdom, and your badassy boldness. Excuse me. This show is your gateway to creating ripples of transformation in your life, your work, and your world. So let's awaken your potential today and spark the magic within. And today I'm thrilled to introduce someone who embodies the journey in his own unique way. Our guest, Samuel Ayodeji Amorin, is a trained music producer, sound engineer, and also a Christian counselor. Samuel, excuse me, creates content, produces, directs, and shoots events and films as well. His passion for making music and ensuring his impact touches the lives of everyone he meets positively. So make sure you grab a pen and paper, open your heart, and let's awaken the extraordinary together. Let's give a warm welcome to Samuel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so pleased to have you
Thank
here.
you. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you for the privilege to be on your show.
Oh, well, you're such a big part of my life, my business life as well, because for those who don't know, Samuel produces and puts all the music behind all of this for us for our listening pleasure, and he's just such a big part of it all. And I just love your music first and foremost, but
Thank
secondly,
you.
music has always been an important part of my life. So, and I'm asserting it's been an important part of yours. How did you start your journey? I'm curious. Like, what got you into the music world in particular?
Well, I like to start this way. I remember when I was pretty young, I must have been around 7 years, 8 years old. I remember, I'll stand in front of we had a music player, a radio. I'll stand in front of the radio and I'll listen to music, contemporary music, many years ago.
Mhm.
And then I remember, then I'll make a promise to myself. I'll be like, oh, one day I'm going to be doing this music. Somehow, when I hear those music, my world just stops. Like it was a basis for every good thing in my life. I really was very happy about the music I hear and everything. So I made up my mind that I was going to get on that journey, that one day I actually promised myself that one day I'm going to be working on music or songs or sounds that people are going to come and look for me all over the world. That was the promise I made to myself. So from that point I continue to grow school. We call it primary school here. You know, from primary school to college, from college, I had to. Growing up wasn't easy, but amidst all the roughness, amidst all the challenges, I discovered that music has been one thing that has really helped me to stabilize my growing up. I was able to avoid a lot of things that happened to young, kids back in the days, and all of that. And I also played music in
Right.
church. As young as I was then, I started playing music in church. I was really little, and my dad took me to where to learn drums. So I learned how to play drums, started playing drums in church. I was playing with all adults, all over the place. So played drums in church, and my dad encouraged me a lot, always telling me to stick to the music. And then sometimes people needed me to do stuff with them. It would allow me. And then it was a big and inspiration in my life. That was how I started the journey, actually.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you've been doing it ever since.
Ever since, yes.
What is your favorite instrument? Did you play more than the drums, or was it just the drums?
Yes, I played the drums, I played the bass guitar, I played the guitar, they call it acoustic guitar. I played that. I played trumpet. I played the piano. Played quite a number of those
Uh,
instruments, even till now.
wow, multi-talented. So did you teach
Yes.
yourself, or was that something that you went to school to learn?
No, when I started, it was self-taught. When I started as young, okay, apart from the drums, the other instruments, I started taking on them and learning, knowing stuff. I just discovered that, anything that has to do with music, once I put my hand on it, under a short while, I'm already good at, the stuff. So I continued. Once I done, playing one instrument, I go to the other. So, it got me to the point where I started teaching other people. So as I was growing up, I wanted to, pursue a career in music, even though my parents
Uh-huh.
wanted something else, but they were really, understanding and supportive, so I wanted something else, but they said, no, they wanted something else, but I wanted music. So when they saw the way I was going at it, they allowed me to chase a, career, to chase the interest. So
Wow.
I went into music fully, applied to some schools abroad. It didn't work out. So I uh, got a private school, a private college in Nigeria. Went there, under the mentorship of one great man. We call him Reverend Bola Rolo. He's in the US, he's in California. So went there for 3 or 4 years. I did a training, so I came out from that training doing some major project that took him, globally. Till tomorrow, he still talks about those projects. It was a major project for me. And that was the first time I was doing something that, remarkable.
That's awesome. So I'm asserting then from what you said, I mean, you started at the age of 7, listening on the
Yes.
radio. Was your family involved with music, or is it just your love of music?
Yes. It was just my love for music. And actually, I discovered later that my dad has been also very, keen with music. I remember back in church, he would take hymns and teach harmonies of the hymns, the soprano, the alto, the tenor. He would teach, and then he was really prominent with that, and people really celebrated him. So when I started the music stuff, I noticed that I think I'm just taking after something. There's a connection between my dad and myself, with that music stuff. Even though when it grew to a point, he stopped the music, so it was now my turn.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, and forgive me for not introducing you as Dr. Samuel, because it's doctor in there. We want
Yes,
to make sure
yes,
we put that in there
yes,
because that's a well-earned, something to be admired and talked about, right? But before you
yes,
became a doctor of music,
yeah,
I'm curious because through your education, and I don't know what I don't know, but I've been told years ago that so many of today's musical uh, from back in centuries ago began
yes,
with Christian upbringings in churches, hymns. You had mentioned hymns. So I
yes,
know the Beatles took a lot of their, the world Beatles are known throughout the world, right? And the Beatles took a lot of their music based on hymns, or if nothing else, the melody from those hymns. Is
yes.
that correct, or is that something that someone just told me and made up? And I believe.
Well, music as it is, from the beginning, from the way, I got into it, and then the way I interacted with music and people, and, my environment, the world at large, the way I interpreted music, because one of the things I do is production, make music. I can write songs, I
Mm.
can, add melodies to lyrics. I can build a song from the beginning, have my own songs, I have some performance along the line. So, seeing all of this will make me answer you this way, that music is actually a kind of a force that you don't have so much unless, okay, now let me conclude that statement, then I will explain. You don't have so much, how do I put this now? You don't have so much grip on where it takes you. You understand? I'm talking about the inspiration now. So when it comes to music, the things that you play, the things that you sing, the way you come up with all those stuff, sometimes takes you over, before you now get to add, your expertise and all of that into music. So generally, I think I'm talking about inspiration. When music, there are a lot of things that gives different people inspiration in music. There are a lot of things that inspire people to write or to play music or to do certain things, the way they do them. Because this is going to take me to some works I did not too long ago, that my client sent me songs. She doesn't stay where I am, so she sent me songs. And when I listened to those songs, I had an idea, but also when she was writing the songs, there was some things in her mind. But by the time I started playing on the piano and putting stuff together, and she listened to it, she had to forget you understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now it's my inspiration. And then when she heard what I did, and she just gave in. She loved it. It's resonates with what she heard when she was writing the songs and all of that. So for me, music at that level, just takes you where it takes you. You understand what I mean? Like I tell people a lot that when it comes to music, you have to be open-minded. There are lots of things that are guided by rule in music. When I'm teaching people or when I'm talking to people, we talk about, oh, no, this is not supposed to be done. So, but as the world is going, we're getting to, open up. Some of those rules are no longer applying because now it just takes you, you know, once you're open-minded, once your mind is open, and then, even with your training, music kind of like inspires you. It's almost like a spirit, it comes and then you're able to do it, like do a lot, something that has
Yeah.
never been heard before. I don't know
That's
if I
beautiful.
answered your question.
No, yes, and yes, and
Okay.
I'm always been inspired by music. I was watching some reel recently where a gentleman just got to the piano and he started playing in an
Yeah.
airport, for instance, and people started coming up and it just creates a crowd of people. And then somebody picked up a violin and started playing with him, and somebody started singing with him, and it just seemed music always seems to move personally my soul. So I can only speak for myself, but seeing something like that touch, moves, and inspire me for sure. Is there something in particular that you find that inspires you to keep on keeping on?
Yeah. Music itself. Music itself, as long as its sound is playing around me. Also, there are a few sounds I heard when I was growing up. They are kind of triggers for me. When I
Yeah.
hear them, I enter a certain kind of realm. When I talk about realm, it's not anything diabolic or anything, but I just get to that creativity point because, like I said, when I was growing up, I I listened to some things and it inspired me, and I promised, okay, this is what I'm going to become. This is what I'm going to do. So there are some certain things I hear that trigger me to go into creativity, creating songs, because there are times that I don't have to work for any clients. I'm just free, and my mind is thinking about a lot of things, and I just hear something, and then that stuff makes me start writing or start playing. I go on the piano and start playing, and then I before it, I've written a piece, and then that also plus sometimes when I'm a bit down, music has been one thing that has really been um, a sort of a lifter for me. Let me use that word. Music has lifted my spirit every time, without fail. I had a rough, childhood, growing up and all of that. When I mean rough, we didn't have it easy as other kids, but growing up and with music along the line, I discovered that it was easy. Like I said before, it was easy. And then, so now being a grown man, when something is wrong or what something is going on, all I need is music. Once I can get the piano and get on the piano and begin to play, I'm good.
Yeah, I love that. When I get down and out, or if I'm in my head, I'll put on
Yeah,
music in the background all the time. I actually usually have
yeah,
it on lightly in the background. It just lifts my soul and lifts my spirit.
yeah.
Always, always. I've gone to numerous concerts where I've actually cried at some of the music. It's just been so moving and I love that. I absolutely love that because it
It's
does.
nice.
It moves. And obviously,
Yeah,
music is such a big part of our lives, whether we realize it or not, as something quiet background or in movies and films, which you're also doing.
yes, yes.
It's that it creates mood, it creates a feeling, right? So, what is your aspirations like? What's next for you?
Well, I still want to do, like I wrote a movie sort of, and I want to do it's not just a movie, it's a movie. And, there are a few things, I didn't mention that before. There are a few other things that I do, like photography, videography and stuff. Those things are by the way, but my main passion is music. So like I wrote a script for a movie, a short movie, and then the script goes with a song. But it's a very big project. So looking at getting some people who are already in the industry, getting them involved, and I'm able to, like, shoot the movie, make the song and everything. That's one of the projects. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to. Then the other things are, like I have a few concerts ahead of me. My concert, that's me performing, not, doing for other people, so those are some of the projects I'm working on, like
Oh,
working
exciting.
on different albums and video shoots and all.
Well, I personally can't wait to hear it and see it
Yeah,
and say,
yeah,
I knew. So
yeah.
it's exciting. It's exciting. So let's take a
Yes.
moment and for the listening audience, if you're loving the conversation and something resonates with you, pause and reflect for a moment. How does music affect you? Like, what does it invoke within you? Is there a certain type of music that you like? DM us and let us know what your biggest takeaway is, because we'd love to hear from you. So it lets the ripple effect go on and on. Um, thank you, Dr. Samuel. If there was something that you would like to inspire the listening audience with, what would that be? If somebody who wants to start in music and, just doesn't know, or is just playing a riff at home, but doesn't really have that background of relatedness, what might be that pearl that you would like to embark on them?
I'm sorry, my network was really bad just now, and then I missed the question. Please, can you come again?
Absolutely, absolutely. For the listening audience at home, if somebody's
Yes.
just playing around with music but just really doesn't know where to start or how to really get into it, what would be your pearl of wisdom that you would like to leave them with, or
Okay.
inspire them with, rather?
Okay. Well, I think if you decide to open your heart, like, I don't know how much of it you want. Like, I don't know if it's the same way I wanted it when I was 7 years old. The way I wanted it when I was 7 years old was so deep, and nothing was going to stand in my way. Because I discovered that, since that time, I moved swiftly. I was able to, you know, put my mind. So when I'm listening to music, my mind was there 100%. And then when I learn anything, I learn it 100%. So this is what I'm going to say. So if anyone wants, you listen to music and you feel this is something I would like to do, I would suggest first open your mind pretty well so that, there are things that will definitely come to you, like opportunities to be around where they play music or stuff, and you can learn one or two things, or just take classes. Just learn piano, start from somewhere, learn a piece of maybe an instrument, maybe guitar or something. Just learn one instrument or stuff. And then once you do that, you find out that your journey will begin. And as it begins, there is no how you start making melodies by yourself. You've been hearing it, but now you're making it yourself. There's something it does to you. It makes you want to grow. It makes you want to continue. So I'm going to say that if you see that that is coming to you, you're having a love for music, or you think there's something in music that strikes a chord with you, or that resonates with you, begin from somewhere by learning to play piano or guitar. And it's never too late for anyone. Though I started when I was young, but I've seen people who were almost my age, and they started within a year or two, they were already playing well. Just like I said, the different thing between everyone is the level of our passion and how much do you want it. If you want it so much, there's something that drives you towards getting it. So if the extent to which I want it is more than the other person, I probably, my heart, the connection, my life connection to that stuff is going to be stronger, and then I'll probably achieve it faster than the person who just, wants it on the surface. If it comes, fine. If it doesn't come, fine. So I would suggest just start from somewhere, take a class, you know,
I love that. I love, especially here on the Awakening Potential show, where we're awakening our
yes,
potential within.
potential, yes,
The potential. I heard you say that you were self-taught. So
yes,
somebody who can't, let's say, originally, initially go out and take a class, or wants to, but they have that imposter syndrome. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not going to. One of the things that I've learned through life is consistency, right? Consistency
yeah,
is key.
yeah,
Whether you start at home or whether you take a class, it's all about being consistent and showing up for you
consistent,
and
yes,
being passionate about what you're about, and not judging yourself like, oh, this is like, I remember, Samuel, where my kids, music was a big part of our lives. And when my children were young, we did the Suzuki method. And I don't know if that's something down there where you are, but here it's a Japanese, Chinese, I think it was a Japanese form of learning, where you start with smaller things. They usually started on the violin and or a piano rather, and you would go from
yeah,
there learning just little pieces. Like, and they would always start with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Oh my God, did I, after a while it was like I was in my house hearing a twinkle twinkle, and all of that, because my one of them was doing the violin, was doing the piano, and it was just so
yeah,
squeaky. And I remember saying, I want to learn the piano and I'm going to learn it with my children. And every time I would sit down to play, somebody would scoot my butt off the chair and they would sit in and they would do it. And oh my God, the noise that was coming out. But I remember I was making the same noise when I was learning. I didn't know what I didn't know. And it was just the more I played it, the more rhythmical it got, the more at ease I became with it, and the more consistent Twinkle Twinkle Little Star became like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. But you got to start someplace, right? So,
yeah,
what's
yes.
your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, some of the things you said down just, kind of like inspired me to say this. Learning music, I'm going to say it's easy, because I know some people will tell you it's not easy. It's easy. One of the things I'm going to say is this is how I began. I began by listening, hearing a lot,
Right,
so somehow in my subconscious mind had so much sound in it, because music is all about sound,
right.
tone, one tone, a couple of tones becomes a tune, and all of that. So, but if you have listened to a lot of music, If you have listened to a lot of sound, some people love jazz and they listen to jazz every time they're playing jazz, So it gets to a point where once you're sitting in front of an instrument, there's already something in your mind. So you are not empty. Is different from when you're just passing, you know, you're passing through a street and someone is playing music. That kind of listening to music is different. The one I'm talking about is you listen to music a lot. You try to play music, the music you love, play it over and over. As you're playing it, the sound, the tones are registering in you. So when it is time to play on a piano or a guitar or something, you discover that it is easy. It's easy. You're just learning the theory of music, and then it's easy because there are some people who are tone deaf. If I play a certain key on the keyboard and I tell you to sound that same key, it's difficult for most people, and the reason is because somehow I think their mind and their ears, what they're hearing, and their mind are not really trained to be able to quickly detect, okay, this is this, and then they can produce that sound. So I think I agree with you. And also, I'm going to say that anyone who wants to go into music, there's no how you can do that without first having to saturate yourself, your environment, yourself with, what you want to go into music.
Right.
Listen to music, listen to different kind of music, try to appreciate them. You're not listening to learn immediately, but you're listening, to appreciate the music so that one day when it is your turn to play something like you play Twinkle Twinkle, once you start playing, touching the notes, they will start, something starts clicking in your mind because you have a lot of sound around your mind.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
yes.
so grateful you said that because for me, such a nature lover. And I used to live on the river. So for me, the night, or I called it my night orchestra, and my morning orchestra was totally different. And back in those days, I was attempting to learn guitar, with my daughters at that time because we had done the piano thing, and then divorce came, had to leave the piano behind, and the next best thing was guitar. Our instructor actually had a car accident and left the state of Florida where I live because the humidity was too much for him breathing and he only had one lung. And it just inspired me because when I was listening to my morning orchestra, it was the birds singing outside. And I was so inspired by the uplifting chirping, so to speak, but the context of all of these birds together created this sound in my mind that I wanted to recreate it on the guitar, which I never quite got to, especially with him leaving. And then at nighttime, as I said, I lived on the river, so I had the alligators croaking, which was a whole nother tune. And it became my evening orchestra. And I would just sit there in the dark and just listen and take it in because it was just such a natural sound. And like you said, everything begins with a
Yeah,
and that's the
yes.
sounds that inspired me and still continue to inspire me, nature. But
That's lovely. That's lovely.
yeah,
That's nice. You know, well, like I've been saying, music for it's a big part of my life, and things like birds or stuff. There are some times that some things just they're not for you. Maybe you're just on your own and you hear a sound, and that's the beginning of an inspiration, and you begin to create something around it. So
yeah,
it's true. It's true, and I agree with you. Um, well, music is not, like I said, music is not the only thing I do, but music has shaped every other thing I do.
yeah,
Music has, impacted all other things I do. Thinking as a musician, thinking as a music lover. I played in church for a very long time. I played in church, sang in church, played in church. You know, I even helped a lot of, men of God to build, from the beginning. That's how, if you remember your friend Debbie, we grew up singing lovely songs, and stuff. And I drilled a lot of people, building people up, to be better singers and stuff. So, that was how we grew. Like I said, I was self-taught until I grew and started going to, colleges and institutions, to, teach myself better. So, but like I said, I'm glad. It's not the end. We don't stop learning music. We don't stop learning music. So I'm still, listening to music that I'm not conversant with, like some deep African music and stuff.
Mhm.
So we can make, something from them,
Well, I can't
or
wait.
something with them.
Yeah, I can't wait to
Yes,
hear more of that because I love it.
yes,
I'm a
yeah,
huge fan of, I've been to South Africa numerous times
yes. South
and
Africa, I love their music a lot.
yeah, I fell in love with the music. And then, of course, meeting my friend Debbie, who is from Nigeria, fell in love with the music when I was with her, because every continent, has their own version of everything. And I love global music. I'm a fan of it. I collect it actually. And I certainly love what you're doing for me. And I don't know if you're in front of a piano now by chance.
No, no,
Okay. So for
no. I
those,
wish I wish I prepared for that. I
I
wish I
didn't
prepared
even
for that.
think this,
I would
but
really have loved to play something, honestly. I would have loved to play something.
yeah, but you are going to be playing something. So I'm going to invite the listening audience to pause during your listening of this podcast, this show, because Dr. Samuel, actually plays all of our music in the background. And I'm going to ask him to put something in here so you actually get a feel for what he's doing. You get a feel for Dr. Samuel yourself. And all of his contact information will be in the show notes for sure. So this way we can reach out to you. Got to keep a space for
Okay.
Karen, though. Because I just so am inspired by your music and I just love what you
Thank you.
put behind the
Thank you.
scenes there for us.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Is there anything that you would like to leave the listening audience with before we part ways for the time being?
Well, I think I've said a lot of it, but like I said before, I'm just going to say it again. Uh, whatever it is, it may not be music, it could be anything. I've learned a lot from Karen also. A lot, a lot, a lot. Meeting Karen within a short time, I've learned a lot. And one of those things I'm going to touch it to what I'm going to say right now. That whatever it is, no matter what that thing is, uh, as long as your heart is open and you believe that you can do it, then you can do it. So I think it starts with the the resolve to do it. It starts with wanting to do it, and you have resolved that this you have made up your mind that you're going to get this done and you're going to get it done. That's actually how it happened in my life. So I'm going to say that whatever it is, whatever it could be music, could be anything else, honestly, as long as you're still breathing, you can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dr. Samuel and Marin, Thank you for sharing your wisdom and journey with us today. It's
It's
so
my
great to
pleasure.
hear.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, your story is so
Mhm.
powerful, and it's such a great reminder that transformation happens when we lean into the awareness and take those badassy steps to empower our lives.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. To our
Thank you
listeners,
very much.
thank you. Remember that the bridge from ordinary to extraordinary is built with small steps of change and
Yeah.
big leaps of faith. So you are more than powerful than you realize. So keep showing up, keep stepping forward, and keep awakening your potential. If today's episode sparks something within you, let's take a deeper look at that. Reach out to me, post something below, write awaken, and I'll know that you would like the link to more. So feel free to reach out. And till then, make it an amazing day. Bye for now.